Remember when staying up past midnight didn't feel like borrowing energy from tomorrow? When aches disappeared overnight and stress just meant a deadline, not a whole body fog. Life in your 40s, 50s, even early 60s, it's a crossroads. You're still young enough to steer the ship, but you've sailed far enough to know that health isn't promised. And here's the truth few talk about. The choices you make now quietly shape whether your body is ready for the long game or quietly winding down before it has to. That's why this conversation matters. We're talking about 8 quiet signals your body gives, subtle patterns, behaviors, or internal clues that can reveal how likely you are to thrive past 70 or struggle to get there. These aren't random guesses. They're grounded in the research, in what doctors and longevity experts are noticing over and over again in people who live well into their 80s and beyond, with energy, clarity, and strength still intact. And no, it's not about overhauling your entire life or chasing the latest biohacking trend. It's about noticing what your body is already whispering and knowing what to do with it. Let's start with something simple, but surprisingly revealing. Your gait speed. How fast do you walk naturally when no one's watching? Studies show that walking speed is one of the most powerful predictors of future longevity. Faster walkers, even in their 40s and 50s, tend to live longer and age more healthfully. Why? Because walking isn't just walking. It reflects your muscle strength, cardiovascular health, neurological function, and energy reserves all at once. So, the next time you're walking down the street or across the office parking lot, notice your pace. Are you moving with purpose or plodding through the day like you're carrying a backpack full of bricks? If it's the latter, don't panic, but do take it as a gentle nudge. Add 10 minutes of brisk walking to your daily routine. Stretch your calves, wake up your glutes. Movement begets more movement and more life. Now let's talk about another sneaky body secret that flies under the radar in midlife. Grip strength. Think about how you open a jar, carry a suitcase, or hold onto a dog leash when they pull. Your grip says more about your whole body vitality than you might guess. In fact, weaker grip strength has been directly linked to a higher risk of mortality. Yes, even more than high blood pressure or cholesterol in some studies. It's not about becoming a bodybuilder, but it is about holding on, literally and figuratively. Strong hands often reflect a strong nervous system, balanced hormones, and muscular coordination. And the good news? It's easy to build back. Keep a resistance band near your desk. Do a few squeezes while you wait for coffee to brew. Practice hanging from a pull-up bar for just 10 seconds a day. You'll be surprised how quickly your hands and your confidence get stronger. These little signs might seem small, but they whisper big truths. And once you start tuning in, it becomes easier to give your future self the support it's quietly asking for. There's a moment that sneaks up on you, maybe at 48, maybe at 57, when you catch yourself forgetting what you walked into the room for, or you reread the same paragraph 3 times before it sticks. And you wonder, even if just quietly, is this normal? Here's what most people don't realize. Your memory recall speed is more than just a brain quirk. It's a real marker of longevity. Not because you need to remember every name at your high school reunion, but because the brain, like the heart or lungs, shows where before you think it should. When you begin to forget more often, especially short-term details, your brain could be flagging early signs of metabolic slowdown, inflammation, or even the early waves of cognitive decline. But here's the part that should feel empowering. Brain function is incredibly responsive to attention. You don't need to become a crossword junkie, but do carve out 5 minutes each day to actively challenge your memory. Try recalling what you ate the day before, meal by meal. Practice learning and reciting short poems, jokes, or phone numbers. Use your brain like a muscle, not just a processor. The sharper you stay at 50, the stronger the bridge you build into your 70s. And while we're on the subject of things that fade without warning, let's talk restorative sleep. Not just hours in bed, but the kind of deep soul-level rest where your body repairs, Your hormones rebalance. Your brain resets. Many people in their 40s and 50s push through fatigue as if it's a badge of honor. 4 hours of sleep and a double espresso? That's not resilience, that's depletion disguised as productivity. And over time, it catches up. Poor sleep undermines every repair process in your body. It disrupts appetite regulation, weakens your immune system, and accelerates cellular aging. In fact, studies show that consistently poor sleepers have higher risks of dementia, diabetes, heart disease, and yes, earlier death. So if you're waking up more tired than you went to bed, take that as a signal worth responding to. Audit your sleep environment. Limit screens late at night. Make your room cool, dark, and calm. Start small. A 10-minute earlier wind down. A lavender scent. A sleep journal. You don't need a perfect night, just better ones more often. Sleep isn't passive. It's a critical investment in your future. And now, here's one that feels a little taboo to bring up, but says a lot about longevity: your digestive regularity. Yes, we're going there. Because your gut is one of the clearest mirrors of your overall health. People who go days without a bowel movement, or who experience frequent bloating, pain, or gas, may be dealing with low-grade inflammation or an unbalanced microbiome. And over time, that internal imbalance impacts everything from nutrient absorption to immune defense to energy levels. If your gut is sluggish, your whole system pays for it. And if you've quietly adjusted your expectations, thinking it's just age, you might be normalizing something that needs attention. The fix doesn't require overhauling your life. Add fiber-rich veggies to just one meal. Sip warm water first thing in the morning. Get moving after meals. Listen to your body instead of numbing or ignoring it. Regular digestion is more than comfort. It's a real sign of internal youth. All these things, your memory, your sleep, your digestion, they don't scream for attention, they whisper. But if you listen now, your body will thank you later. There's something almost poetic about the way your gait, the rhythm of your walk, predicts how long you might live. It's not about how fast you can sprint or whether you can run a 10K. It's about how naturally, confidently, and consistently you move through space. Researchers call it gait speed, and they've found that people who walk more slowly, especially unintentionally, tend to have a higher risk of early decline. Why? Because your walking pattern is like a full-body orchestra. Your nervous system, muscles, joints, balance, and even heart function are all playing their part. When something's off, even just slightly, your steps reflect it long before other symptoms show up. You might have noticed this in someone you care about. They used to stride with purpose, now they shuffle or they hesitate before climbing stairs. It's subtle, but it matters. And for those of us in our 40s, 50s, and early 60s, this is the perfect moment to intervene. You don't need to power. Walk around the neighborhood every morning. Though that's great if you enjoy it. But you do need to move with awareness. Try walking with intention every day, even for just 10 minutes. Swing your arms. Engage your core. Focus on posture. Your body notices and remembers, especially with repetition. Let's pair that with another marker that gets far too little credit: grip strength. It's not just for athletes or gym goers. In fact, it might be one of the most overlooked predictors of health span. Grip strength is closely tied to overall muscle mass and nervous system vitality, and the data's surprisingly strong. People with lower grip strength in midlife have higher risk of cardiovascular disease, cognitive decline, and mobility limitations later on. But here's the beauty of it. Grip strength is easy to improve. No gym membership required. You can use a hand gripper tool while watching TV. You can squeeze a stress ball at your desk. Even just holding grocery bags or doing light body weight exercises like push-ups against a counter can help. And these small efforts, they add up. Now, let's zoom out a bit. Because longevity isn't just about physical performance. It's about how your body handles stress. Not the obvious kind, like tight deadlines or arguments. I'm talking about the steady drip of low-level stress that builds when your days feel like they're always on fast forward. When your heart rate stays slightly elevated, your sleep is restless, your digestion feels off, and your temper thins more easily. Those are signals. Your body is living in a low-grade fight or flight mode. And while that might feel normal in your 40s or 50s, it's not sustainable. That constant tension wears down your systems, especially your cardiovascular health, immune response, and hormone balance. Over time, it accelerates biological aging, quietly but powerfully. The antidote isn't quitting your life, it's creating micro moments of reset. A deep breath at the red light, a quick stretch between meetings, a phone call with someone who makes you laugh instead of just text messages. These aren't indulgences, they're protective rituals. And they tell your body, you're safe, you can exhale. Because longevity isn't only about adding years, it's about improving the quality of the years you've already earned. Let's talk about resting heart rate. That quiet background pulse you probably only notice when a smartwatch sends you a buzz, or you're lying in bed with one hand on your chest. It may not seem important now, but your resting heart rate is like a window into how efficiently your heart is functioning behind the scenes. A consistently high resting heart rate in midlife has been linked to greater risk of cardiovascular issues down the road. The sweet spot for most healthy adults? Somewhere between 60 and 80 beats per minute. But here's the thing, it's not just about the number, it's about the trend. Is it slowly rising over the years? That might mean your body is working harder than it needs to, even when you're at rest. Luckily, this is one of the most modifiable markers. Even 10 minutes of moderate movement a day, like walking or yoga, can make a difference over time. So can better hydration, regular sleep, and lowering that low-grade stress we just talked about. You don't need to obsess over your heart rate. You just need to give your heart more reasons to beat calmly. And while we're on the subject of your inner rhythms, another silent indicator of future health is how well you recover. Not from illness necessarily, but from everyday effort. A long day on your feet, a tough workout, even emotional stress. When you're younger, recovery is quick, you bounce back the next morning. But as we hit our 40s and 50s, recovery starts to stretch out. What used to take a day might now take 2. And if your body doesn't fully reset, it starts to layer on wear and tear, sometimes without you noticing. Until one day, everything feels just a little harder. So how do you know if your recovery is lagging? Pay attention to the signals. Are you still sore 48 hours after light exercise? Do you feel run down more than rested after a full night's sleep? Are small colds hitting you harder than they used to? These aren't signs of weakness. They're signs that your body is asking for a little more care. Recovery isn't passive, it's active. Gentle movement helps. So does sleep hygiene, magnesium, post-exercise nutrition, and boundaries that protect your downtime. Because the truth is, the people who age best don't just power through. They know when to push and when to pause. And that leads us to something equally powerful, yet often misunderstood. Body composition, not weight. Not what the scale says in the morning, but what your body is actually made of, how much muscle you've preserved versus how much fat you've quietly gained over the years. Muscle, especially in your 40s and 50s, isn't just for looking good in a t-shirt. It's your longevity savings account. It protects your metabolism, supports balance and mobility, helps regulate hormones, and keeps your immune system humming. Yet too often, we let it slip without realizing. A missed workout here, a skipped protein-rich meal there. And little by little, muscle loss adds up, until the tasks that used to be easy suddenly aren't. But here's the good news. You can build muscle at any age, and even more importantly, you can preserve it by doing a few key things consistently. Resistance training a few times a week, prioritizing protein, staying active throughout the day. You don't need to become a bodybuilder. You just need to remind your muscles that they still matter, because they do. They're your armor, your engine, and your anchor as you move through midlife and beyond. And when your body feels strong, it tends to stick around longer. Some of the most powerful clues to how long you'll live don't come from machines or lab tests. They show up in your habits, in your breath, in the way you greet the day. One of the quietest and most telling signals of long-term health is your grip strength. Sounds strange, right? But science has been whispering about it for years. Studies have found that weaker grip strength in your 40s, 50s, and 60s is linked to higher risk of heart disease, mobility loss, even early death. Not because your hands control your heart, but because grip strength reflects overall muscle function and nerve integrity. It tells a bigger story about how your body is holding up. You don't need to squeeze stress balls all day, but you do want to stay strong in the ways that support you. Lifting grocery bags without struggle, opening jars with ease, carrying grandkids with confidence. And it doesn't hurt to throw in a few light strength sessions each week, pulling, pushing, gripping, because those small motions are telling your body, we're still in this. Now let's turn inward, toward something you don't see, the mirror or feel in your bones. Something you sense in your gut, not intuition, though that matters too, but your actual gut, your digestion, your microbiome. Because your gut isn't just about food processing, it's an information hub. It talks to your brain, trains your immune system, and even affects your mood. And as we age, if that system gets lazy, inflamed, or out of balance, everything from nutrient absorption to inflammation control starts to unravel. Midlife is when this often begins, quietly. More bloating than usual, more sensitivities to foods you once loved, a foggy head after meals. But too many people write it off as getting older rather than getting curious. A thriving gut is a silent partner in longevity. You feed it with fiber, real fiber from vegetables, fruits, beans, and whole grains. You nurture it with fermented foods and plenty of water. You protect it by managing stress and moving daily. And in return, it helps you age better from the inside out. And that brings us to one final beautiful secret. It's not in your cells or muscles or digestive tract, it's in your outlook. How you feel about aging itself has a bigger effect on how you age than you might believe. People who view growing older as a process of loss and decline tend to experience more health issues and die sooner than those who see it as a time of growth, wisdom, and connection. Your beliefs shape your biology, not in a magical thinking kind of way, but through behavior and biology. If you believe there's more to look forward to, you move more. You engage more. You take better care of yourself, and your body responds with vitality. So take a moment. How do you talk to yourself about aging? What stories do you carry? And are they helping or hurting your future? Because if you rewrite that script with curiosity, with strength, with self-compassion, you're not just shaping your future, you're extending it. Because here's the thing, we spend so much time looking forward with worry, wondering if we're doing enough, if it's too late to turn things around. But midlife isn't a countdown. It's a checkpoint, a moment to pause, reset, and decide what kind of future you want to build from here. When you combine simple physical cues, like resting heart rate, breath control, strength, balance, and gut health, with your mindset, your emotional energy, and your daily habits, you start painting a clearer picture of your true biological age. Not the number on your driver's license, but the one your body lives by. And that number? You get a say in how it moves. That's what makes this stage of life so powerful. You're not starting from scratch. You have decades of experience, resilience, and problem-solving under your belt. You just need to turn some of that wisdom inward. Maybe that means skipping the all-or-nothing diet and just adding more real food. Maybe it's getting outside for 15 minutes of movement even on busy days. Maybe it's calling a friend just because. Or forgiving yourself for that thing you've carried too long. None of this is about perfection. It's about course correction. About nudging your body and brain in the direction of strength, clarity, and calm. And if there's one truth you take away today, let it be this. Longevity isn't just for the lucky or genetically blessed. It's for the curious, the engaged, the ones who keep showing up for themselves, even in small ways. So if you've been running on empty or feeling like midlife is just a slow slide, stop, breathe, reclaim it. You still have so much say in the story that comes next. Drop one bad habit, add one energizing one, shift one belief. Let those tiny moves add up. Because your 70s, 80s, even 90s, they don't have to be about decline. They can be rich, connected, powerful, and most importantly, yours. If anything in this video made you pause or spark something in you, share it in the comments. Let's talk about it. Let's build a space where people in their 40s, 50s, and beyond come together not just to grow older, but to grow better. And if you haven't already, hit that like button. Subscribe for more videos designed for people who are done with burnout, done with being overlooked, and ready to own their health, joy, and longevity. Because aging isn't the end of the story. It's the part where you finally write it your way.